of the Cayman Islands.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host.
Coming up next on Talk Today, it's Open Line. Let's talk about the things that matter to you. Talk Today, right here on Radio Cayman. Stay with me.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They make it happen. Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990. 949-8037 or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Talk Today. I'm Charles Glidden. I hope you're having a good week. Well, if things have been a little rough, you can console yourself by looking forward to a long weekend. Our Constitution Day holiday is on Monday. You can celebrate 66 years of constitutional government in Cayman. Or maybe you just want to chill and recharge your battery so you can face the world again on Tuesday next week, right? If you are in a mind to celebrate, you can celebrate Eastern Caribbean style on Saturday with K-Mass Road March. All those young girls out there shaking that thing. Lots of eye candy on the road. And if you like fireworks, well, on Monday you can head to Cayman Bay for the big fireworks show at 8 o'clock, but things actually get started down there at 6 p.m. So you have a couple of choices there to celebrate the 66th anniversary of constitutional government in the Cayman Islands. I remember as a kid, the big thing to do on Constitution Day was to go to the beach. I mean, well, there really wasn't anything else to do. But we had a lot of fun going to that 4th of July picnic at the Three Pines on 7 Mile Beach. I'm sure some people remember the Three Pines as, a lot of things went on under those casarita trees. Sometimes you get nostalgic for those days, when you could have the whole beach to yourself or just your little group having fun there. But then you remember the other things that went along with living back then. I remember Brainard Watler once said to me that anybody that said they longed for the good old days in Cayman, they were never there. So, back to why we're having this long weekend. Our Constitution. Our Constitution has evolved. Well, actually changed. More than evolved, I guess. Here's a little history. 1959, first written Constitution. One important result of the West Indies Federation. I don't know if you remember or know about that failed attempt for unity among the British colonies in the Caribbean. But anyway, the one important result of the West Indies Federation was the creation of the first written constitution for the Cayman Islands. When the Cayman Islands and Turks and Caicos Island Act was passed by the United Kingdom Parliament in 1958, this created a direct constitutional link between the Cayman Islands and the United Kingdom, which paved the way for a Cayman Islands constitution on the 4th of July, 1959, by way of a royal order in council. Obtaining a written constitution was a significant political advancement for the Cayman Islands, as the islands were now specifically exempt from the control of the Jamaican legislature and were for the time being placed directly under the authority of the Jamaican governor. This constitution also was the one that granted women the right to vote and established a legislative assembly, and that replaced the previous legislative body of vestrymen and justices. Fast forwarding a few years, there was a debate as to whether Cayman would go with Jamaica, which was going independent, and after the unanimous resolution in the Legislative Assembly for Cayman to remain a dependency of the United Kingdom instead of going with an independent Jamaica, a new constitution was enacted by order in council in 1962. But this constitution did not really differ substantively from its 1959 predecessor. The next major change came with the 1972 Constitution. Now, this new Constitution in 1972 further defined the governance structure with a governor, the Legislative Assembly, and Executive Council. But it really didn't advance us very much because if you remember, the governor used to actually sit in the Legislative Assembly. Then came the 2009 Constitution. That's the current one, established by the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009. That came into effect on November 6, 2009. So it's actually the fourth written constitution for Cayman since 1959. Of course, there's been amendments to the current constitution as late as 2020, I believe we've had amendments. So that is why we're observing this weekend the Constitution of the Cayman Islands. Very important document. And, of course, we got a Bill of Rights in that last one, setting out the rights of citizens. So, what are we talking about today, folks? It's your call, in more ways than one. Yesterday turned out quite interesting. A lady called complaining about trash and people not caring about keeping the place clean. Nasty people is what we were calling them. They didn't care about keeping the place clean and tidy, and a lot of people called with the same concern. She kicked off something, and we even learned about what the Department of Environmental Health is doing to keep Cayman clean. We had a call from the director, Mr. Sims, and I actually learned some things I didn't know that they were actually active in doing. It turned out a lot of things that people were saying they should be doing, they're actually doing, but it doesn't make headlines. But Cayman has a reputation for being clean. I've heard more than one visitor to Cayman comment on how impressed they were at how clean a place Cayman is. We can't lose that. I mean, if you visit some places, even developed places, I'm not even actually referring to other Caribbean islands, which we can do that comparison, but even, developed places, you go and, You see trash along the road, and you walk past trash, and Cayman has not really had that kind of cityscape. We try and keep it clean. So, what do you want to talk about today? The numbers to call, 1-800-534-8255. That's toll-free, compliments of flow. You can call us 949-8037 or 949-6990, or WhatsApp us, 925-3261. We're going to take a little break here. Give me a call. Tell me what is on your mind, what matters to you. Be right back.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Adelaide, what it is you have there in your hand looking at so intently on this porch?
These your shipping out papers, Paul. I saved them all these years. Don't know why.
Yes, they are important things that tell the story of us seamen. All the places we went and all the sacrifice we made.
And we sacrificed too. No man to help us manage the home, the grounds, the children. That was hard work. But what a joy it was when Annie came home.
Boy, Adelaide, we were brave people, stepping off of this beautiful rock onto the edge of the whole wide world. And you all here suddenly becoming financial managers and overseeing construction. Some strong women.
We set this country on the map for sure. Every bit of our modern foundation came from seamen's allotments and women's hands. I'm so excited we're going to be celebrated on July 10th at the Voices of the Sea, launching the Cayman Seafarers Registry. Come on, let's go pick out what we gonna wear. This can be a real figure, a good old time.
Celebrate Cayman at the Cabinet Office cordially invites one and all to come out to Voices of the Sea, launching the Cayman's Seafarers Registry to celebrate our seamen and our proud history of seafaring. Thursday, July 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Veterans and Seamen's Association Hall in Cayman Brac. Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. Well, as I told you before, we're having open lines, so you can give me a ring and we can talk about what's on your mind. I was looking back at a story from yesterday in the Compass by James Whitaker about this, would you call it a row? The headline is Power Struggle. A little pun there, I guess. Power struggle. Solar could slash power costs, so why is Cayman doubling down on diesel? And that's a good question because this goes back to when OFREG wouldn't allow CUC to go ahead to use solar power. And it leads off with a warning from CUC saying Caymanians could miss out on huge savings on monthly bills, and the islands will struggle to meet clean energy targets if a plan to commission new fossil fuel-powered generators goes ahead. And, we need to be prepared to generate more, or CUC does. Somebody has to be prepared to generate more power because if the growth in our economy, growth in population, new businesses, hotels, tourism is booming, that means more electricity is being used. And they gave, as an example, at a peak time last Friday, when everybody goes home, turns on all the power, watching TV, the air conditioning is going full blast. We were using almost 80% of the capacity that CUC has. Now, how long will that be sufficient? It says that we were using almost 80% of the capacity CUC is required to have surplus power capacity in case of spikes in demand or dips in supply. For example, when they have to repair a generator or something goes wrong. So how long will the current capacity be sufficient for Cayman? Plus, some of the generators are reaching the end of their useful life, and they're going to be need to be replaced. OFREG turned them down on their proposal for a mix or a hybrid, as they called it, of the traditional generators plus solar. And the whole thing was about saying, well, your license doesn't currently allow for that. Well, gee, can't we kind of figure that out and work around that somehow? Amend the license or something? Solar and other renewables are the way forward. That's the future. If they have a plan to start going forward with solar, why are we holding them back? Why is OFREG holding them back? Something just because the license isn't written a certain way? That sounds like something that could be remedied, some kind of exception would be made, or just amend the license. If they're going to save people money, increase the capacity, it seems like that would be the thing to do. Cayman's now the national energy policy. We want to be by 2045. The target is to be 100%. That's the policy. To be have renewable energy, but seems like we're taking a step backward here, and instead of going forward and stepping into solar, and I'm sure people will welcome having a cheaper light bill. It's kind of weird. I'm sure Off-Reg can give us some reasons why they took the decisions that they did, but sometimes you have to have some kind of flexibility here in order to, make the best for the country, and it just seems like this is like we're going backwards instead of going forwards here. We have someone on the line, so let's take a call. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk
Hi,
Today.
Good afternoon. How you doing? You're talking about my favorite thing. So you see.
Your favorite thing.
Yes, because that is draining the people. That is draining the people in this island. I want to use. You're speaking about solar. We don't want CUC to have the solar.
Well,
the
who should have it?
Comes from the sun. The sun is free. Let the people buy their own solar and install it in their own homes, that they don't have to pay for it. The sun is free, my dear friend. You understand where I'm coming from? That is every day the sun shines.
So,
God bless us on this island.
Can everybody afford to buy solar, though? I mean, for themselves?
Of course, solar panels are like $1,600 in the States, all over in China. They're cheaper. People have been shipping them to Honduras and other places, and they have solar lights in the Bay Islands, and it's not expensive.
Okay.
So solar needs to be on its own, because the sun lets the solar panel get energy, then the energy goes through the homes or wherever you want the energy to go. So I don't.
But you have to have some batteries, right?
Yeah, but the batteries come with it. You purchase those things with it, and they teach you how to install it. You know, they just yes, it does. And you know what? I've seen it down in Honduras and certain islands in the Bay Islands and out there, and different parts. And I don't think we don't want CUC to have solar. The people needs to have that for themselves.
Well,
why
couldn't CUC have solar and people have solar too?
Yeah, but CUC, when you work that out and you put that for so many years, I've tried to work it out and it doesn't pay off. You know, it just evens right up the same amount as a CUC bill. People need to educate themselves on it, and that solar farm that they're building up there, that's for Richard Branson. And I need to do a research on this. This is a major problem in this island, and CUC, all of those people that have CUC and have shares in CUC will not speak up because they get a little dividends at the end of the month. That's not making the other poorer people lives better. It's making they need to come together and own the solar. Let the Caymanians own the solar, not CUC, not one individual or some parties that have shareholders into it. That needs to be stopped. So I'm happy Off-Reg put a stop to it.
So how much would it cost? How much would it cost to outfit a home? Say a 3-bedroom home with air conditioning and the whole thing, with solar.
When I called, they said here locally it was like $50-something thousand, and you had to pay. You could pay monthly, you could pay something down, and I said no. And when I worked it out in the States, and I did a correspondence in the States out of Tampa, it was cheaper, and it didn't make sense because it worked out the same amount as the CUC bill every month. So it's not going to work, my friend. So you need to do a little research. I can send you a pamphlet by Mr. Oric Connor of all the researches that we've done, and I want you to look through it. If you don't have time to read it, you just go through it and you will see we, the people, need the solar, not CUC. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for calling. Well, that's a really radical look for it at this situation. Deny CUC, solar and allow people to come off the grid, I guess is what she's saying. Come off the grid and have your own solar. Is that practical? I don't know. If it's affordable, but then you got people, in apartment buildings, and, how does that work out? Where do they get their power from? Does the apartment is built with solar already built in for the whole complex? Or there's a lot of things to be considered. Right now, we've got to take a break. Be right back.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Get ready, the fire of revival is coming. It's the great evangelistic campaign, Cayman Islands under the power of the Holy Ghost. Guest speaker Apostle Jose Duarte from Paraguay will be ministering throughout Grand Cayman, bringing a powerful word and the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Services begin Friday, June 27 at First Assembly of God and run through June 9. Don't miss the services in West Bay on June 30 and July 1 at Heritage Park and in Bordentown on July 3 at Public Beach. Come for healing, come for breakthrough, come experience the power of the Holy Ghost. For full schedule details, call Sister Vilma Hawkins at 923-8954.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and we have some callers on the line, so let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
All right.
All right. I'd like to reiterate with the caller previously talking about the solar panels.
Yeah, I'm having trouble. Are you on the speakerphone or something?
No. I got an earbuds.
Okay. You're kind of thin. You're having trouble hearing you clearly.
Better now? Well, that's the best I could do because I'm driving. Well.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. You can hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd just like to reiterate on what the caller was talking about before. She's saying that it would be better for we as the customer to have that sort of power instead of having to buy it from CUC. But one thing she don't really understand quite clearly, I heard her say about batteries. Not everybody that sells a package, they'll sell the solar panel separate and they'll sell the battery separate. So, and there are times like rainy season, like no, you're going to need these batteries and for the night times. So, I mean, you could get the sun all day The panel will work during the day perfectly, but what about in the night? In the night time, now, that is where the bothers come in.
Or you got 4 days of rain.
Yeah, and that is where the cost factor really is. But at the end of the day, I mean, I do agree with what you said too. What about the people that can't afford it? Yeah, she may say $1,600, and that sound cheap, but you got to install them as well. And I don't think that you, by law, allowed to stay off the grid. You have to remain on the grid, if I'm not mistaken. That could be corrected, but
yeah, I think
as far
so.
as I remember, you have to stay connected on to CUC.
And you can sell your extra to CUC.
I'm not too sure if we could do that. Not everybody. I believe you had an open window opportunity. Anybody like was in the first phase of the solar panel coming on board. I believe it's only them that was allowed to. And I remember recently, I believe that they had opened it back up for a small amount of people. I don't know if that is open like everybody that gets solar. I can do that now. But I know as far as I remember, it was something similar to that. James Whitaker and Mario Rankin can touch base on this better than anybody else on this island. And at the end of the day, as she was saying, I don't think Fuller CUC should be allowed to have the solar panel part of that. It should have been an other company. And at the end of the day, when it comes to having one company have the monopoly over your country, if anything happened that they decided that they're going to pack it up and move out, we're in serious trouble in this country. You're always good to have multiple entities. So if one decided now they're going to be vindictive or they're going to cut you off, you got alternative means. But at the end of the day, I mean,
are you saying that instead of letting CUC have the solar, you have another company that is supplying electricity from solar panels?
Yeah.
And CUC would buy that electricity from them?
Yeah, no, we don't want CUC buy that. Let the people buy it from the company. Why do we need CUC? Don't you think CUC is getting more than enough than they need now?
Well, they're a monopoly, but I mean, that's how it usually goes with utilities, that because for efficiency and so forth. But
yeah, the monopoly part of it and the stupidity of some people when the time were coming up to renegotiate the contract with them, people dropped the ball on that. And they were being notified long time by some citizens that were privy to this information. And nobody now grabbed the opportunity to go back to the drawing board with CUC and renegotiate that for the interested people. The people that were part of that entity needed to be off-reg or whoever, they should fire all of them. Because how could something as serious as CUC affect majority of the people in this country who have that sort of clause inside of our contract that I need to notify you? No, I don't have to notify you. When the time come up or after the time, I could carry you to the drawing board and say, look, we need to renegotiate this in the interest of people. But at the same time, with the lady say, the shareholders, and that's some of our older Caymanians and maybe some of the younger ones that bought into CUC, their main concern is their bottom line. They're not worried about the common man. They're not worried about the common man. So at the end of the day, greed overrides fairness and giving people value for their money. That's where we are today in this country. But at the end of the day, I realize somebody else could talk on this topic, but I think that it's a good topic for us to be talking about because we need to go forward. We got more than out of 365 days. We may have, say, good 300 or 290 odd days that we got sun. Why not utilize it? We've been sitting here too long in this country, letting everybody come behind us when our forefathers built this country and the ladies that were home that the money was being sent to. They were real estate brokers because they were buying property. They were taking care of family members and stuff, sick and old. And at the same time, they did a wonderful job. But some of them had a decent education, but they still run it like as if they were accountants. They were doctors, and they were caregivers and real estate agents because they were evil little apartments some of them had. And yet, we got all the opportunity now in this world, and we can't move forward. We don't seem to move forward without getting information or getting, you got to do feasibility to sell a letter outside and decide to tell you what it is that's right for us.
All right, bro. Thanks for your input.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you have a good afternoon. We have another caller on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Charles.
Good afternoon.
You can hear me good?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I like the discussion today because I just listening in from what I'm hearing about going off grid. Am I hearing right?
You mean off reg or going off the grid?
Off the grid.
Yeah.
But you can't do that entirely, like the last caller said, right? Because you need to be plugged into the grid, really and truly, to be under like certain regulations or something with buildings and whatnot. But why can't it be that like the owners of the houses have their own power supply and have it like, you know, how we can control our water system, where either we can have a cistern, we can tap into that, or if we don't have any more water, we can tap into the water company, the city water. And
yeah, you can just turn a valve and select which one you want to take it from.
Yeah, man, easy as a flip of a switch, you know, like how you have like the fuse box and you just do your thing. It would be something like that. What is it? You know, like you own your own power supply that you bought with your own money, and you own it like a vehicle. So you got your car insured, and anything happens to it, the insurance company covers the whatever percentage it would cover, and make it a lot easier for you for whenever any damages. Because solar system is a pretty good thing, but it could possibly get damaged by any disaster or whatever. So it would be, I would say, it should be insured like a car, and any responsible homeowner would have that, I would assume.
Yeah.
But I don't know about having something like the.
You might have to take out some kind of special insurance for it, but.
Well, I don't know how. I really and truly I'm a homeowner, so I just saying like that because I just looking at how electricity bills go on, and it's so unpredictable, especially when we got so many hours of sunlight to dispose that are at our disposal, and if we can't even harvest that, that's just as bad as them telling you can't plant trees anymore.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't want that to happen. But yeah, you're right.
Well,
you're right that the sun is there, so let's use it. We have the technology to use it, so let's use it.
Sitting down, right, 1,000 gallons waiting for a good rainy day, and then it rained for like 2 days straight, and you can turn off from the water supply for a good week or two. I don't know how long you last, but you know what I mean. It eases the burden of expenses, you know, especially in a place that is so financially congested. This island is so financially congested. I wonder where our money goes because it's not coming in our pocket.
Yeah, I don't think. As the law stands now, or their contract with the government, their franchise, is that everybody has to be on the grid. You know,
right.
You can't just come off. But then there is room for solar energy, but you still got to have that connection. But you know, I mean, it isn't to the point yet that where you can really depend on it 100% for
I wouldn't go
time.
so radical to depend on that 100%. You know, to be honest, if we had enough money and technology, I would say that I would fully be confident that hydroelectricity, because you have wave energy and Cayman, even if you got the stillest of water, you got at least 3 to 4 feet waves going on continuously, and that's enough energy to, if you have enough power plants, I mean, it could cover one district. If you have like 3 or 4 of them going around, you might be able to share.
You mean people?
I'm not an expert.
Yeah, people sharing the solar.
Yeah, no, sharing like hydroelectricity, something that using the energy from the water, not a river like how some of these people make it seem like it's the only way how to get energy is through water flow and all those things. I'm talking about like a piston. They have these things are like buoys. They're tied in the water, and then every time you go up, the wave goes up.
Oh yeah.
Goes down. It pumps the electricity, the generator or whatever it uses. I've seen this technology, and I'm saying to myself,
yeah, I've heard something about that.
Yeah, if that could even power a population of 200,000, we only have 8 or something. We're not expecting to go 100. So I don't see why we have to overthink on certain things. and like the insurance part comes in, if it benefits the public, I don't see the reason why we can't spend the expenses as long as we're burning clean energy.
All right. Thank you so much.
I don't know. I'm not an expert with these things. I don't have the money to buy these things. But if the public is paying for it and it comes in from the government, I don't see the reason why we can't look into technology like this instead of worrying about the sun. The sun is something that each and every individual can harvest. Not everybody can harvest the energy from the sea.
So you think everyone should have the right to do that?
I guess so. If you can afford it, how many people can afford it? That's
another thing. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. It should be an independent decision where if I do not want to go solar, I can still go with the electricity that the CUC provides, the company.
All right. Well, thank you.
That shouldn't kill anybody.
Thank you so much for the call.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care. I looked up something here about the cost of solar energy. The cost of a solar panel system for a 3-bedroom house, including air conditioning and a clothes dryer, can range from $15,000 to $50,000 or more before incentives. This wide range depends on factors like electricity consumption, sun exposure, system size, and whether you choose to go completely off the grid. A fully installed system typically costs $3 to $5 per watt before incentives, according to solar.com, meaning a 10 kilowatt system could cost $30,000 to $50,000. So, of course, that's in the U.S. That's all referencing what it would cost in the U.S. We have to go to the news. We'll be right back with more Daybreak after we find out what's happening.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
You're invited to pop around to today's Hospitality and Tourism Forum. It's kicking off at 4 p.m. today at the Marriott and will be followed by a networking reception at 5:30. For more information or to RSVP, you can head to the Ministry of Tourism's Facebook page. Tens of thousands of passengers have been hit by a French air traffic control strike that has canceled flights in France today and tomorrow and had a knock-on effect elsewhere in Europe. Budget airline Ryanair said it has been forced to cancel more than 170 flights, and the holiday plans of more than 30,000 passengers have been disrupted. 2 French unions are staging a 2-day strike over working conditions, leading to a quarter of flights being canceled at the main airports in Paris and half of the flights at Nice. And U.S. President Donald Trump has called for the chair of the Federal Reserve to quit right away in an escalation of his attacks on Jerome Powell. Trump said in a post on his social media Truth platform, quote, "Too late, should resign immediately." He also included a link to a news article about a U.S. federal housing regulator calling for Mr. Powell to be investigated over his testimony about renovations to the central bank's Washington headquarters. Trump nominated Mr. Powell to be the Fed chair during his first term. Since then, he has repeatedly criticized him for not cutting interest rates, but it is unclear whether the president has the authority to remove him from the post. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Urban Adolphus Tibbetts Certificate of Honor, 1914 to 1991. Urban Tibbetts was the 12th and last child of William and Henrietta Tibbetts of Cayman. As a young man, he went to sea for a few years. When he returned home, he served as a police officer for 3 years and then returned to sea. After retiring from sea for the second time, he joined the Public Works Department and within a few years became supervisor. During his years as works supervisor, he supervised the construction of Cayman Airport, the road to the lighthouse on the bluff, and the road on the south side of the Brac. He did not just supervise the work, but worked along with the men on the job. Urban raised cattle, and when he butchered at Christmas time, he often gave away beef to families who could not pay for it. He was always willing to help those in need. In the early 1950s, he donated the land for Fellowship Baptist Church, and once it was built, he joined the church and became a deacon. Urban was married to Vida McLaughlin, and the couple had 7 children.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Ooh, welcome back to Talk Today. And I was wondering why Susan was laughing so hard. And then she told me. When I was throwing to the break there, I said, we'll be back with more Daybreak. See that? I play my hard drive played a file from about 15 years ago. I guess I said that like so many times during my time on TV that it's still in green there, an automatic play. No, Daybreak is too early for me these days. I like the lunch hour much better. But I was reading a few things about solar energy here, and one of the last caller was talking about having a system where you could use your solar, but then if you wanted to go on the grid, you could. Yeah, you can do that. You can off-grid versus grid-tied. Off-grid systems with battery storage will be more expensive than grid-tied systems that can rely on a grid backup power. So if you have the grid-tied, you don't need the batteries. You can just, if you don't have enough sun, you just automatically go to the grid and get your power source from the power company. We have a caller on the line on our WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You're
Good
on the air with.
afternoon.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. And
Great.
how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Yes, my family's Cayman, and I was born there, but I'm in the States.
You calling
And
from the States now?
yes, I'm
Oh,
in the
great.
States at the moment. Yeah, I was there last summer and through the discussion of CUC and the astronomical light bill.
Yeah.
While I was there, I did some research and I found out that Bordentown Solar belongs to Virgin Atlantic, which is Richard Branson. He also bought Bordentown Solar and bought, I think it's Barbados, Bahamas, and he has something in Jamaica. So I was wondering, it to me, it seems like a, how I say, acquisition, buying up all these small solar farms. In addition, CUC also is in partnership with Virgin Atlantic. And then there's another company called, out of Canada, I'm trying to think of the name. All three of them have interest in Bordentown Solar. My thing is, and after I gave you that brief history, my concern was, first of all, on Virgin Atlantic's website, if you go there, they promote community. They promote lower costs, giving back to the community and being a part of the community. So my question was, if that is the case, and that is the mission statement on the page, why is it not trickling down to Caymanians? Why are they not seeing a surge and saying, hey, if you convert to solar, because Virgin Atlantic owns Bordentown Solar, this is what we're going to do for the community instead of just robbing my people there, because those light bills there are they're mortgages.
So what is Bordentown Solar? What they supply? What to who? They're supplying.
They supply to CUC.
Uh-huh.
Bordentown Solar. It supplies. I forgot the percentage off the top of my head, but they supply power. If you look at the average light bill there, or electric bill, we'll say, there is a thing that says usage fee. Wait, I'm trying to think. There's about 5 fees on there. And then I went to OffRec to look, why are people being charged all these additional fees? One of them, all of them, I can say was approved by OffRec, so they're not doing the people justice. One of them is saying they're paying a fee for that solar. They're paying a fee to offset the solar. If you look at your bill, I don't have it in front of me, but I can email it to you once I find it. And I did highlight it. And one of the fees on there is charging every customer for solar, but it is a hidden cost, but they're not getting any benefits. Then the other fee is, it's another fee in there for Ivan. And that's been over 20, that's like 20 years.
Oh, for the repairs.
Yeah, there's a fee, still charging customers. And that's what I was saying, OffRec is not doing their job, because why would Caymanians still be paying these additional fees 20 years later? If you look at the bill and you discern it and you decipher it, you go back to OffRec, you'll see they approve that fee. But I don't know, I can't think it off the top of my head how long it was. I don't know if it was for 20 years.
Yeah, it would.
I don't know if it's for 20 years or indefinite. So my thing is, one thing to ease the burden of our people is to eliminate these fees if they're not getting anything, because the only person that's getting money from these fees are the shareholders and the owners of these companies. Because Caymanians are crying out. When I was there, all my family was, they were livid about the electricity bill. However, it's quite hot there. You need your electricity. Older people there are suffering in the heat.
Yeah, well, you need the AC.
Right, because you need it. And then this what this does, it diminishes the quality of life. This is not something that you could say I don't need. No, it is needed. It is a part of your life. And if you read the Cayman Constitution and the British Constitution, it says to take care of the community, take care of the people, so they can have adequate life. This is a disservice. It definitely is. I did some extensive research, and that's why I know about Virgin Atlantic and all these fees. I was like, well, who's getting this money? It's not going back to social services for the people. It's going into somebody's pocket.
All right. Well, maybe someone can elaborate on what you've made us aware of. Thank you so much for the call, though.
Bill, look at your bill. It's gonna say usage. You're paying for diesel. You're paying for it's gonna say usage, diesel. Then it's gonna say something fee. It's gonna be like a solar fee. It's like 6 fees are on that bill, if I'm not mistaken. But I can
fuel charges and fuel tax and all that. All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. We have someone else that's been patiently waiting there. So let's go to our next caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Yes. Good afternoon. That was a very interesting conversation. Very, very much. Yeah. And for her to reach out from overseas, so I said that was very, very appreciated on my behalf. But Mr. Glidden, how are you? Sounds mighty cherry today.
Oh. Looking forward to the long weekend. You looking forward to it?
Oh, I'm looking for 2 months vacation from the school.
Aye, okay. That sounds like a good vacation to me.
Yeah, school closed on tomorrow, and I think it's like in a 1 o'clock bracket. So I'm just asking everybody out there to please be patient with the school buses on the road tomorrow lunchtime.
That'll be an unusual time for you to be out.
Yes, right. It's to please stop and protect the children that is getting off the buses to go to their residence. It's lunchtime. It's closing school time. So please respect our children. If you never respect them for the whole school term, let it be tomorrow. I am begging and pleading with you guys because out there is crazy. And what I really called you for, too, is that the pedestrian crossings, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, cars, people are stepping off to their leisure, and a car is coming, and sometimes the car stops, sometimes it don't. You know, I believe and I feel, and someone suggested it as well, too, that we should have some sort of 3 to 4 lines across the pedestrians, giving a heads up to drivers, knowing they're coming up on the pedestrian, that they need to slow down.
Are you talking about all pedestrian crossings or just the ones in the middle of town?
No. I said all because we have a lot of pedestrians that are crossing that is kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And they are dangerous. A lot of pedestrians out here is hidden. And it needs to be more protected because if we're going to put up a sign stating use indicator to turn here or turn there, it's like we are babysitting these people on the road. We got flashers there. We got the crossing there with the white and whatever color. They're not paying that no mind. So someone suggested to me probably 3 lines going at the pedestrian crossing.
I see some places they have like a little sign in the middle of it that alerts the drivers that it's a pedestrian crossing.
But well, I'm not gonna win now. One with you.
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I've seen some at some crossings there is something to alert the drivers.
Some places have the pedestrian flashing lights, and some don't.
Yeah.
You got some don't have no flashing. Period. So to try to continue to protect our people because they're not listening and they don't care about the pedestrian, we look like we got to put every precaution you could think of at these pedestrian crossings for the pedestrian people to cross safely. Because as our population continue to grow, we got to have more people crossing the pedestrian crossing, and the people who is driving needs to respect the pedestrian crossing. So if we can go and put up signs, say use the indicator, and if these pedestrian people who is coming out there to cross don't want to stop, look, and listen, Well, we got to go another channel.
Yeah, well, whenever I use it, I make sure the car stops first before I step out. That's for sure.
I try my very best too when I do have to use it. But you got some that say it's a pedestrian, and you're the one that got to stop, not me. I got the right of way. I don't think so to a degree. You must stop, look, and listen to make sure the way is clear. But they're looking at it. I got the right of way. I can step in the front of the car. I haven't seen no car at a funeral in a casket and not parking it in a graveyard. So people need to have a little bit more consideration and learn to share as we go along the way.
It's also something called common sense. I mean,
common sense is not very much of that. We got to have a lesson on that probably to come in in the year, I guess, when government start doing their thing with
have a course in high school on common sense.
And I want to hit on one more thing.
Okay.
The spot dock. You know, we only use that when the weather's bad in town, right?
Uh-huh.
But Mr. Glidden, that place needs a thorough cleaning up there right now. Up there is filthy with the grass growing on the outer fence. People is going there using the place, and they say that fence was put up because it was by I think TSA that they used the term. I could be wrong with my initials for safety safeness for our visitors when they are on the ground up there from the cruise ships. It's supposed to be a safety protective area. And if it's only going to be protected when the people are in on the cruise ship, when they got bad weather downtown, what happened to the rest of the other months? And I want to know why the gates are open 24/7 if that's supposed to be a secure place. It's not even a security. Watching our waters down there. I don't know how often the marine boats go out there and take a little peep from time to time. Who knows what's happening there day and night? Because always someone to park up there. You understand? So the places that is not being watched by the law, they're the places that be doing some of the things that they're not supposed to be doing in our own country. You know where I'm coming from? But up there need a real cleanup. They're not going to wait until the weather changes in November, December to come up and clean that place up. That place needs cleaning up real bad. It's nasty. I even saw a bed mattress out there. I was wondering what kind of condition it was in. I thought
bed mattress.
Look at it, and I thought about going look at it. Probably
Gee, I wonder what that was being used for.
That's a joke. But anyhow, later but greater. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for calling. We got a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. This is me again. I had to hang up because I had an overseas call. Have you ever looked and sit and read your CUC bill? The $6 and change is from Ivan. Ivan cost is still on the bill.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You have a CUC hooked up onto your house?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Do you have solar lights? You know what solar lights is?
But lights that are run by solar?
By the sun. You see the little LED shop in the front of Brand Source? They sell solar lights.
Okay.
So I have them all around my house. When the lights go out, I have lights inside and outside. So they catches the sun in the day. In the night, they light up. And if you pass by them, they bright up. Why do we have to buy the sun that God give us? Answer me that question. When your phone go out and your lights go out in your house, do you have a solar charger that you could just put in the sun?
No, I don't have solar or anything.
Okay, so you're not solar familiar then. So you need to read on this, get familiar with solar. CUC cannot own the solar panels. It's from God. It's God gifts to human being on earth.
The solar panel?
The solar. Solar comes from sun. Sun lights up the solar and gives it energy into the solar panel.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so they can't own that. So have you ever went shopping at A.L. Thompson recently?
Yeah.
Remember they had a solar generator that it don't need no gas, no nothing, and it was for $5 something. You could plug your whole house into that once the light go out. They were selling them for $5 something. They went like hot cake if you have a hurricane. So I happy that you're speaking about this today. No bad, but I need you to do a little research on this also, you know? I need you to dig into it. Like my friend called in earlier from the US. She did a big research. She came down for 3 months and did a big research on this. That's how we all know that Richard Branson owns these things. There are people getting richer and richer. They're not giving back to the poor Caymanians. We don't have much Caymanians left. We want to take care of our Caymanians. Our senior citizens are sitting in heat each day. They have to find CUC money. There's no one, government's not handing out CUC vouchers for the senior citizens. Have you seen any? I'm sure you're a senior, right? I am also almost one. And
yeah, I'm a senior.
I'm nobody not come around and tell you sign up a form, you're going to get free light after you 65, have you?
No.
Okay, I'm giving you a point. You think about this seriously. It's not a laughing joke. When you got to pay for 1 month, $800-900 and can't pay your mortgage, you don't know which one to pay, the mortgage or the CUC bill. So you pay half CUC, you pay half the mortgage. You try to whittle something and pay half the next one. You make the cakes, you make this and go pay the next one. CUC needs a competition. Whoever let that contract run through their hands should be beaten with a cord whip, cord whip. And you know what a cord is because you are a Caymanian 100%.
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And they really put us back in that for another nail 100 years. We need that competition to come in. That contract needs to be broken. There's always ways to break contracts, and there's 7 ways to break a contract. So they need to look into that deeply. I'm begging and asking the new government. Children are coming out of school for vacation now, and they're going to be home suffering with the heat. The parents is not home. They can't burn CUC light because they can't afford to pay the bill. What are they going to try to do? Send them to a daycare center for the day? And that's $300 to $400 a month also. They need to look into this, real and truly. The people are suffering. Senior citizens are home. They can't burn the fan, the CUC lights, and nothing like that. Because they're suffering, they don't have the money to pay it. After 65, they retire them. These people are still very, very, like you, very, very ready to work. You're very knowledgeable, you know what's happening around you, and you can go back to work without any questions.
Tell me something. How do you say that we have to break the monopoly, right?
You need to break it, and there's always 7 ways to break a monopoly.
So how do you envision this working? If say next year we break the monopoly of CUC and we open up to other people, how does that all work with the whole coordination of distribution and whatever?
Well, they just have to get on it. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but it starts from one end of the island, 26 miles, right? So, you know, it looks bigger than that, but that's what it is.
So, I mean, you're saying that have someone else. Are you saying that no company at all should have solar and it should all be individual?
Yes, individual owned. All the solar panel because it's coming.
So you wouldn't need a power company then.
Maybe not. You have a big generator in the back. If that blows up, buy another one. Invest and save money on the side. You know, it's not going to burn your house down because it's hooked up onto a box further away from your house. And you know, and a monopoly gives lower prices. You know, you just need to work on it, look on it, get a good lawyer to deal with it. I'm sure Mr. Wayne Panton is in there. He's a good lawyer. He knows. I mean, maybe they don't have time to do this. Get an outside entity to look into these contracts. We want that solar for ourselves. We want to purchase our own solar panels, bring them in and get them installed by the choice of our company, and we pay no more CUC. We can do it. The Caymanians need to step up for this. CUC is for CUC and the millionaires.
But don't you think you're gonna have to have a power company of some sort, though? I mean,
you have a backup. You need a competition. Is good. Competition is good. We need a backup. Not everybody going to be able to afford the solar panels right away.
Yeah.
Right? So you give them time to save for 4 years, 3 years to get what they have, or even maybe the solar panel company may make you pay monthly payments.
Because I don't know if you heard when I read this thing, and again, this is in the States. The cost of a solar panel system for a 3-bedroom house, including air conditioning and clothes dryer, can range from $15,000 to $50,000 or more before incentives. Does that fit with your figures?
Yes, it does. So for the year, listen to this. For the year, if I bought solar panel from CUC, it works out to $50,000 to $60,000, same amount as a CUC bill. So it doesn't make sense.
15,000 to 50,000?
50,000 to 50,000. 50,000. When you calculate it properly, I don't have it on me, but it works out to the same amount as CUC paying that each month. So you know what? Give us the solar panels ourselves. Give the people the solar panels. Give the Caymanians what they want.
But that would be a lot of electricity, though, if you're paying $50,000 a year for electricity.
But we need somebody else in here. They too much. We need a power company. This needs to be offset by the government. They need to do this really right now. They need to do something with this. I mean, I'm here. I am suffering from the heat. And you're suffering from the heat when you go home. Maybe you can afford to burn your CUC 24 hours. I can't. Okay?
Yeah, we all have varying degrees of, money.
Yeah. And you also know that solar panels give stored energy.
If you get the batteries, yeah.
You could sell that back to CUC too. Yes, we need a company, but we could sell that back to their competitors or sell it back to CUC.
All right. Well, listen, I got to take a commercial break here.
You go and take that, and you fight for the people to own that, not some other entity. You have a great day.
All right. You take care, you hear? We got to take a break. Be right back.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway. Eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Get ready, the fire of revival is coming. It's the great evangelistic campaign, Cayman Islands under the power of the Holy Ghost. Guest speaker Apostle Jose Duarte from Paraguay will be ministering throughout Grand Cayman, bringing a powerful word and the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Services begin Friday, June 27 at First Assembly of God and run through June 9. Don't miss the services in West Bay on June 30 and July 1 at Heritage Park, and in Bordentown on July 3 at Public Beach. Come for healing, come for breakthrough, come experience the power of the Holy Ghost. For full schedule details, call Sister Vilma Hawkins at 923-8954.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today, and we've been talking about CUC and solar energy, and you can join in on that, or maybe you want to talk about something else, but let's take another call. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
All right, I'm good. Hot topic today, just like the temperature outside.
Yeah. Glad I'm in the AC.
well, thank God my car got good AC. I on the road, so it's not doing too bad. But touching on the topic of the whole solar and CUC and all that, a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to solar, it's not just something that you can just pick up and put on your house. You know, it takes a lot of planning, which, yes, CUC and planning working together, which for the safety of the people and the safety of the island. Because you have a lot of people who go out there and try to hook up solar to their house, and God knows what else will happen.
They try to do it themselves.
Try to do it themselves. Then you have backfeed from the solar system on CUC line if they should do any work. And you know what happened after that. So a lot of things have to go into it. Yes, we have a lot of sun here, but sun don't shine at night.
Mm-hmm.
How much people can afford a battery? One battery for a solar system is almost $3,000. How much average family can afford that?
Yeah, just shelled out at one time.
You're gonna generate the power, but where you gonna store it into? You know what I mean? And an average home, an average 3-bedroom home, one battery can't power that up. So there's a lot of moving parts to it that they don't know. The other part now with CUC, they say we're bringing a company because there was a solar farm here in Bordentown that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard CUC bought it out. Not sure.
Yeah, one of the callers was talking about Bordentown Solar or something like that. Was that the same thing?
Right. So when we generate the power, can we distribute it wirelessly? No, we can't. It's the same monopoly like what Cable and Wireless had back in the days when Digicel and other company came here, had to operate through the previous company. CUC owned the pole, they owned the light wire.
Yeah.
How are you going to get the wire to the customer? You have to go back to CUC again. So we cannot get rid of CUC. And the other thing, 99% of the solar system are not self-sustained. They need CUC power to start up the inverter. So you can't get rid of CUC. So a lot of people saying this and saying that, but they need to educate themselves on this before they, jump off in the deep end. We want better service. We want cheaper ways to operate, but it don't just happen in the snap of a finger. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Average family, if solar panels selling for $1 tomorrow, how many average family can afford $1 to go buy it? It can't happen. It's not something that is cheap, and it's not something that you can just walk in anywhere and pick up. It needs a fix, but it's not an easy fix.
Yeah, I saw something on here that I was using a 3-bedroom house with AC and a clothes dryer, and they said, you probably have to start looking at a 10-kilowatt system to run a whole house like that.
Exactly. I mean, what's the cost?
Yeah.
How much family can find the startup money to get it? Yeah, it's going to pay for you over time, but do you have the startup money?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
$15,000 to $50,000, depending on exactly all the structure of it.
Yes, sir.
And getting that money and putting it down at one time. Not everyone can just go and reach into their pocket and get that
in a bank account or under the mattress and get it. So, yes, we want it, but it comes with a cost. So what my thought on this is, government probably can step in and do a little bit more where it is offered to locals, and the bank do a valuation of you and say, okay, just like how you want to get a house or a car loan, it's the same thing. Because most people don't have to get a loan to get this. Not many people can put their hand in it on a $15,000 tomorrow morning, even if they have a medical issue. So the only thing I think can probably help this is if government take this seriously and step into it and let the individual become independent of installing their own solar system, and we don't have to depend on CUC 100%. But we still need CUC because we need street lights. Our hotels need to run. I mean, the hospital, you name it.
Then you got apartment complexes. Individual people living in an apartment complex, it's hard for them to rely on individual solar units.
Right, because if you live in an apartment complex that is on the strata, you can't do certain things to your one unit. This has to go across the whole board and sign off, and so there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to it. But when it comes to a single dwelling home, maybe, just maybe, government might step into it and say, you know what, let's see if we can do a little bit more for the people, because we all feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody would like to see a lower light bill. Well, thank you so much for the call.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
You take care. Have a good afternoon. We have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Glidden.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, and you?
I'm all right, man.
Okay. Well, speaking about the minimum wage, they're saying that it might be difficult for some people to be able to pay the minimum wage.
Some businesses.
Yes, but the minimum wage is something that has to be done. I mean, they paid Mr. Hurlston and them to do all that research, not just to take that minimum wage and throw it in the garbage. They did that it would be put in place to help people in Cayman who need a raise in pay. And when it comes to small businesses and companies like CUC and the water companies, government has to use the power that they have in controlling off-rig to see that these water companies and CUC aren't allowed to do as they please when it comes to what they're charging people monthly on their bills.
That's the very sense of a regulator. You regulate things.
Yes, and I'm sure government are giving them discounts on their fuel, whatever the fuel cost is to bring in their fuel. I'm certain they're getting a discount on that.
Well, there's a import duty actually on the fuel.
Yes,
and that's on the bill too. We pay we pay for that too.
Okay. And you see, if the government puts things in place that these companies aren't allowed to do as they please, and these light bills and water bills come down, and then when it comes to the monetary authority with the banks, that the banks are allowed to do as they please, what they charge people when it comes to mortgages on a monthly basis. Yeah. These are things now that would help people when it comes to this minimum wage, especially small businesses. When the light bill has decreased, when the water bill has decreased, when the monthly payment for mortgages has decreased, then this gives people in small businesses a chance to raise the pay for their employees, or even helpers or people who may have gardeners in their yards. Right now, I'm staying in the UK right now.
Oh, okay.
And my light bill for the month is $25 a month. My water bill is $15 a month. Thank you very much.
$25. Hold on a second, though. Hold on. But that's what are you using, though? I mean, you're not running AC up there, right?
No, I use heater when it's cold. I use the heater.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, I use hot water when it's when I need to, and just the normal lights, and that's just about it. But when it comes to CUC, being the only utility company in Grand Cayman, there's no way that CUC say they're not making enough profit as it is right now in Cayman.
Well, I don't know if they've ever said that they're not making enough profit, because, I mean, I don't know if they made that claim. You know.
Well, that's why it's even more important that the government does not allow them, because right now CUC is allowed every year, and it's during the summertime. Every year CUC is allowed to increase their electricity rates, and it's always during the summertime when people are using more electricity, and that's very unfair to people, especially people who are having children who are at home.
I think they have to present a case, though. They have to say why they need a rate hike. I don't know if it's every year, but the bill also fluctuates according to the price of fuel.
Well, from the contract that I heard that they signed, that is what the contract said. And when the contract was signed for the first 25 years, when the PPM government were in, a member of the Legislative Assembly who was an employee at CUC before winning the election was allowed to negotiate the new 25-year deal. And that should have never have happened. That right there should never have happened, and it did. So that alone was unfair to the people of the Cayman Islands. And then when it comes to the Cayman Brac Light and Power, I do not understand why the owners of Light and Power decided to sell that to a private sector as DART, and not give the government the first opportunity of buying that, instead of putting that in the hands of DART. That's another thing that was not fair.
That's the free enterprise that we have, you know. I mean.
Yeah, but that is something else. That is something else that was not fair to the people of Cayman Brac.
That's business.
It's very unfair business, though. It's a difference.
Well, if you have a business and you want to sell it, you know, you're allowed to do that. That's how it goes. I don't know whether they had to get permission to do that or not, whether it comes under some kind of regulation and that had to be approved. But, you know, it was a company and they sold it. But listen, I got to go. I got to take a break. All right. Thanks for the call.
Get ready for something sweet, spicy, and totally crave-worthy. The hot honey chicken sandwich is here, and it's bringing the heat. We've taken our tender, juicy chicken and drenched it in bold hot honey sauce for the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. But hurry, this one's only here for a limited time. Hot honey chicken. Try it today before it's gone. Subway. Eat fresh.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Get ready to celebrate the sweet, spicy, and sunny side of summer
at Mango Fest 2025. Join us at the National Museum on the waterfront on Saturday, July 5th from 2 to 7 p.m. for a fun-filled afternoon of mango competitions, mango cocktails, crafts, games, local food, and more. Don't miss the mango peeling and eating contest. Bring the whole family and soak up the sweet and spicy flavors of summer at Mango Fest 2025. Saturday, July 5th from 2 to 7 p.m. at the National Museum. Mango Fest is proudly presented by the Cayman Islands National Museum.
Freedom, Cayman Rock. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today, and let's go straight to the phone lines. Hello, you're on the air. How are you doing? Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing? I was just tuned in on the tail end of your conversation. In regards to the solar and CUC and utilities and different things. Quite interesting topic. One thing I wanted to state some clarity for the last caller. When the acquisition with selling Brack Power and Light took place, they were a few offers that they turned down, and they sold to the preferred buyer, which is the entity that bought it. And so I thought that was a bit unfair to the caller's point, where the government should have taken that opportunity to purchase Brack Power and Light. The problem is that the sellers wasn't entertaining any outside bidders. They knew who they wanted to sell it to, and that's who they sold it to. Those are the facts surrounding that. But I want to talk about the cost of utilities, more importantly, energy. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a huge misconception that if you put solar on your house, that's going to be the magic wand that fix the problem. The reality is that when we look at the core consumption of electricity in the Cayman Islands, in order for solar to be the alternative, the 100% alternative, it would be a vast amount of land in order to put solar panels on, to put that on. And then again, you got to remember, solar is not a core energy alternative.
Explain that. What does that mean, core energy?
Because the sun don't shine 24 hours a day.
Okay.
You understand? But core energy that is being generated through fuel is running 24 hours a day. The sun don't shine 24 hours a day,
right?
Don't it? All right. So it can't be a core energy.
And sometimes not during the day either.
and then sometimes not during the day. So my point is that we have to be very smart on how we implement energy policies in the Cayman Islands. We can't just keep assuming that we're gonna have this alternative that's gonna be the magic wand or the magic bullet, whereas that end up costing us more. Because if solar was cost effective, everybody would have it. I mean, we know for a fact that it's not. Now, what I will say is that if we wanted to ensure, and when the caller spoke about duties, he showed that government gives, discounts on duties for fuel. You see, a lot of people are not aware that, government don't collect duties based on invoice cost. They collect duties based on volume per gallon.
Okay.
It's 75 cents per gallon. And at one point, I remember when the PPM government had given CUC a 25-cent holiday and only charged them 50 cents a gallon so that they could take that 25-cent savings and pass through to the consumer. But the consumer didn't really actually see it or feel it because it was so small. and not even worth talking about.
Yeah.
And also, Mr. Glidden, we're not even sure if we really actually got that 25% savings, that 25-cent savings. So I think the exercise was met well, and it was met for the right reasons. But
good political move.
Well, that too. I mean, we all know how political mileage works. But again, think about that for a second, right? If our government is collecting 75 cents per gallon for fuel coming into the island, you got to remember now that money goes into central government's revenue. That is technically the only thing that we get back from the 100% pass-through cost that CUC is allowed to charge the consumer, because the contract that they have is that it is 100% pass-through cost to the consumer. So technically speaking, we gave them back 25 cents of what we were already paying, and we turn around and collected back what we were already getting. So that 75 cents is technically all we were getting back as a country, as opposed to paying 100% on the petroleum that we were consuming. Now, had it been a situation where CUC had said they would pay the 25 cents, as opposed to them taking it off the duties and supposedly giving it back to us through our light bill, then I would have had a different conversation, because CUC wasn't willing or ever was willing to eat any of the costs for fuel, because it's not in their contractual agreement. Now when we look at let's look at NAU for a second. We know that there's a number of people who are struggling with the utilities on a monthly basis, and NAU assists these people.
A lot of us are struggling.
Right. Well, I'm just okay.
Yeah, but they more so.
Right. So I had sent in a proposal to Kirk Tibbetts at the time. I remember Mr. Tristan Hydes, who was the chief officer. He sat in the meeting with me and Kirk Tibbetts. This was a few years back, you would imagine, because Kirk been out of politics for a while now.
Yeah.
And it was a Provolic system that would have set up, because remember, government has a lot of crown land around the island. So my suggestion was, as opposed to putting a solar panel or a solar system on individual homes, that would be a maintenance nightmare whenever something goes wrong. I said, well, why don't government just build their own solar farm on some crown land, distribute that solar to the grid, and collect credits through CUC, which they do now. Not government, but the people who have solar gets credits. They don't get cash. They just get credits, right? So if the government had their own solar farm on crown land that generated, say, $1 million a year or $2 million a year worth of credit, then the government could have taken those credits and distributed them to the people at NAU that signed up who needed assistance, as opposed to giving them cash. They would have just distributed credits that would have offset the cost of their utilities. That would have been far more manageable and sensible, as opposed to putting a solar system on everybody's house, hoping that would be the fix. But then what happens when that solar needs maintenance? Then the government has to come back in and subsidize maintenance, because if a person's struggling to pay a $300 light bill at the end of the month, one, they can't afford the solar to put it on to offset it, and two, they're not going to be able to maintain it. So, fixing one problem and creating three problems is not productive. That's actually counterproductive. So I did the proposal to Mr. Tibbetts. Tristan Hydes were there, and you know what Kirk told me? Kirk said, "Oh well, because this can cost more than $250,000, you need to put it out to tender." And I said, "Okay." I said, "All right, fine. You know what? I don't necessarily need to be the person that does this project. Put it out to tender, and as opposed to a private company doing it, why don't the government just take the initiative to put this system in place as an NAU subsidiary that helps people who are in need?" I still, for the life of me, don't know why we haven't really taken the bull by the horn and implement some of these easy wins and solutions that are right sitting there, easy for the picking, but they don't do it simply because, I can tell you, Mr. Charles Glidden, I can tell you why they will not do it. You see, CUC burns about $65-70 million worth of fuel every single year. They burn 50,000 gallons of diesel per day. And the people who are in charge of purchasing that diesel, just imagine if you had a group making 25 cents a gallon. of 60 million gallons a year.
Yeah.
That's a tremendous amount of money. So those persons are spending a percentage of that money that they're making to lobby for governments to keep it the way it is. So the average layman in the streets that don't have no money to pay a lobbyist can't convince government to change the system because the system is being paid for by lobbyists who are making millions and millions of dollars from the system in order for it to stay the way it is.
So those lobbyists are working for CUC?
No, those lobbyists could be the brokers for the fuel. Those lobbyists could be anybody who's
all
involved.
right. That's what I want to make clear. Okay.
And you got to remember, right? In order for CUC to attain fuel, somebody has to broker the deal. Somebody has to find the fuel. Somebody has to sell the fuel. Somebody got to deliver the fuel. So trust me, there's a lot of heads of compensation that are in and about the sale and purchasing of fuel. I can tell you
because they actually negotiate prices for fuel, right?
Well,
even future prices, or
if you look on CUC's website, they're pretty transparent in regards to some of the things that they want you to know. You know, they supposedly get in $1 less than Platt prices, right, which is the U.S. Platt prices. But then when a certain ex-minister, Christopher Saunders, did some forensics analysis because, you know, he's an accountant by trade, he found a couple of dollars missing. Like, they can't give him an account for $2. Now, you know what $2 times 60 million is? So
mind-boggling.
We got a big problem, right? But nobody took that to task. Everybody just turned a blind eye. Why? Because they're paid, the lobbyist pays to have things to stay the way it is. The people who are suffering don't have the financial resources to change the system.
Well, listen, I got to go to the news. It's 2:00, but you certainly have given us some food for thought there, some good insight. Thank you for calling. It's 2:00. Let's check in with the newsroom.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
You're invited to pop around to today's Hospitality and Tourism Forum. It's kicking off at 4 p.m. today at the Marriott and will be followed by a networking reception at 5:30. For more information or to RSVP, you can head to the Ministry of Tourism's Facebook page. Tens of thousands of passengers have been hit by a French air traffic control strike that has canceled flights in France today and tomorrow and had a knock-on effect elsewhere in Europe. Budget airline Ryanair said it has been forced to cancel more than 170 flights, and the holiday plans of more than 30,000 passengers have been disrupted. 2 French unions are staging a 2-day strike over working conditions, leading to a quarter of flights being canceled at the main airports in Paris and half of the flights at Nice. And U.S. President Donald Trump has called for the chair of the Federal Reserve to quit right away in an escalation of his attacks on Jerome Powell. Trump said in a post on his social media truth platform, quote, "Too late, should resign immediately." He also included a link to a news article about a U.S. federal housing regulator calling for Mr. Powell to be investigated over his testimony about renovations to the central bank's Washington headquarters. Trump nominated Mr. Powell to be the Fed chair during his first term. Since then, he has repeatedly criticized him for not cutting interest rates, but it is unclear whether the president has the authority to remove him from the post. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk today, and the talk has been about CUC, solar energy, and some people advocating that everybody be able to just hook up their solar energy and not have to rely on CUC. I'm not sure if that's even possible because, as someone has pointed out, the sun is not 24/7. It can give us energy, but if you're going to completely rely on it, you need batteries to store some of that energy. And also there's the cost. We have some people saying it's quite affordable, that you can hook it up to your house. But sometimes things are not as simple as what they seem. I was talking to someone one time about solar energy who he knows about this stuff, and he was telling me that someone had talked to him about making their house solar, and the first thing he asked him was, "How old are you?" The guy was, I think, was in his late 50s, and he says his advice to him was, "Well, maybe you better leave that for your children as far as getting 100% solar in a house, because it'll take you quite a while to pay it off, to earn the money back to save the money that you've spent putting in the solar system for it to pay for itself." He would probably be very old, or maybe not even see the total savings from the system because of the money that you have to put out in the first place. So that's one side of that. Of course, we've had those people calling in and saying, "Oh, you can order it yourself. You can get it quite reasonably." But it is the way that things will go eventually, I'm sure. As the technology gets better, better batteries are put in place. But right now, I don't think the whole of Cayman could be dependent on solar energy because of people have different situations. Some people are in a house, so they can control what's going on there. But a lot of other people are living in apartment buildings, and you have individual units there. We're into our last half hour, actually less than a half hour. So if you want to get in on the conversation, I think we have someone on the line. Someone that was on before. Okay, all right. We can continue the conversation. Welcome back. Hello?
Sorry, Mr. Glidden, to call back. I don't normally do that, but I just wanted to finish my chain of thought.
Go ahead.
And also offer up some ideas and solutions to how we can manage, the consumption of energy in the Cayman Islands.
So are you in the solar business?
No. If I was in the solar business, I would be preaching solar.
Okay.
But I'm not against solar. Let me just make that clear.
All right.
What I have been dealing with for the past 15 years is energy consumption, though. I can tell you that much in fuel. But back in the early days when the utility company first started, we used to have subgrids, right, where you had a grid running in Northside, East End, and Georgetown. One of the main reasons why we got a big plant was because of the ice company off of Walker's Road. They required a tremendous amount of energy to generate ice. That's a whole subject for another day. But what that did was demonstrate that we could do subgrids. So, for instance, we could have like the caller before I called in that lives in England now. He mentioned that we could have other utility providers. Now we have to bear in mind that Cayman is a small consumer base, which that's why the prices are naturally higher because we don't have the population that most jurisdictions have.
That you can spread the cost out over.
Right. However, it doesn't change the fact that we could have subgrids, North Side, East End, Bordentown, Breakers, Georgetown, West Bay. We could have subgrids that are running independently of each other, which means you could have multiple providers providing in multiple districts, which would reduce the cost across the islands. Now, from a business standpoint, that wouldn't be feasible for the current utility provider because they have a whole lot of investment in a certain area. But if we really were serious about bringing down the cost of living in the Cayman Islands, utility being one of the main cost of living driving factors, that's something that we would heavily consider doing. And the fact that the government have a lot of crown land that they could build solar grids on to generate credits to get, back from CUC, and we haven't done it yet, tells us a whole other story. But, isn't it ironic that a utility company that has a monopoly to provide energy on our island, can you imagine, Mr. Glidden, that they have a huge campaign telling you to consume less and how to consume less when the key to their business is energy consumption? So, I think that telling our island or telling a government or we not having the autonomy to give people the rights to put any amount of solar they want on their property, I think that in itself is an injustice because we have blindly signed a contractual agreement with the only utility company on island that has hold us hostage to the policies in which they want to implement. The reason why they're incrementally giving us permission to put solar on the grid? Because they keep giving us this story about, it has to have this interconnection agreement and it has to have a certain methodology. Let me tell you something. There's no rocket science behind interconnecting solar to the grid. That's just a caveat that they use in order to make it seem complicated to deter you from being motivated in putting solar in place. And the fact of the matter is that there's no money for them to be made in solar. There's a lot of money in it to be made to buy fuel. And that's the bottom line. And that's where we need to be focused on when we have a utility, when we have an regulatory body that is responsible for fair consumption of all utilities that is distributed among the Cayman Islands.
Well, so why would they want to be applying to have a hybrid system of fossil fuel and solar?
Because the government passed a law. They're not doing that. Understand this, Mr. Glidden. They're not doing that because they want to. They're doing that because government passed a law that requires them to do that. So if the government passed a law to require them to have alternative by a certain date, why the government didn't pass a law that made sure that, one, they were buying fair prices for fuel around the region as opposed from the Gulf of Mexico? Let me just re-highlight the reason why our cost of fuel is so high. Let me re-highlight this for the Cayman Islands and the listening public. Listen, all 7 to 80% of all refined fuel that is sold in the Gulf of Mexico, which is where we get our fuel from for CUC, comes from the Middle East. Now, you know how many people have to get a profit from that ship from the Middle East to the Gulf of Mexico? So
it passes through quite a few hands. So.
That's right. There's over 9 heads of compensation before it gets to our tanks. So why is it that we're not buying fuel within the region? You got Trinidad, you got Curacao, you got Venezuela, you got all these countries along the South American eastern seaboard that provides fuel. You got Petrojam in Jamaica. You got all these places that provide fuel right in our region, which is just one boat ride away. Why are we not buying fuel there? So we need to be far more proactive in how we approach this situation. The problem that we have is that we have given them the keys to the city and we're giving them the rights to do whatever they want under that contractual agreement, and that's the reason for it. Now, I'll end with this. CUC is a entirely owned company not entirely, majority owned company by Fortis Limited. Data Link is entirely owned by CUC. Now, Data Link is a subsidiary company that charges all of the other utilities for using the grid, the light poles and the infrastructure in which we bought and paid for after Hurricane Ivan. They collect millions of dollars every year through Data Link. This is CUC I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
that they collect millions of dollars every year through data link for utility usage of a grid that the Cayman Islands people bought and paid for after Hurricane Ivan, and we still maintain today with with that $5 and change surcharge on our bill every month. Not to mention the alternative fuel factor, and yet the Cayman Islands people don't even see 1 red cent from that. So if CUC were being a good corporate citizen, why don't they pledge the money that is being made from data link, that is being charged to use a grid that we bought and paid for? Oh, and by the way, it's on our land because it's on our road shoulders. Why they don't pledge that money to go into scholarship funds or to feed people or to pay off some people mortgages that are genuinely struggling?
What's data link, by the way?
Data link is a company that is owned by CUC. It's called Data Link. You can look it up. And they charges Logic and Flow and Digital. They charges all of the other utilities for using the grid for their distribution, and we don't get no money from that. But yet they're gonna tell us that we must turn our light off when we leave the house. Chalo. The fact of the matter is this: they don't have a formula. They do not possess a formula to tell nobody in the Cayman Islands how much fuel their house burnt at their plant. But yet there's a fuel factor on your bill, right? Now, you can do your own test. You go home and you get your generator out of the garage. You start that. You full her up. You measure how much fuel you use. You plug in 100 lights on an extension cord, 100 light bulbs, right? And then you go after it runs for 5 minutes and you screw out 50 of those light bulbs and leave 50 on. That generator will burn the same amount of gas that it would have burnt to run the 100 as it would do the 50. So you telling me now that CUC can send me a bill that says you burnt X amount of fuel and this is the cost of the fuel and this is what you have to pay? That's a pile of rubbish, and the government knows it, but yet they're allowed to bill the people of the Cayman Islands every single month on a fuel factor that they do not possess a formula to determine how much fuel each house burns, only based off of kilowatt hours in which your house burned, and they average it out. The same thing with the street lights in Cayman. They charge the government millions of dollars every year for street lights, but they don't tell you how many lights not working, but they know how much kilowatts each light burn, and that's the bill that the government gets, and that's the bill that the government has to pay. These are facts. So anyway, there's a lot of things we can do, Mr. Glidden, but we just choose not to do them because we're paid to be quiet. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. We have to take a break. Be right back.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Okay. I thought I had a caller there, but I guess they're gone. We got about 12 more minutes to go. I guess actually a little less than that. If you want to get in on the CUC solar panel, solar energy, you can still catch us. You can get your 2 cents in. And I think we have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air. How are you doing?
Good afternoon to you, Jalom.
Yes.
Afternoon.
How's it going?
All right, Listening a bit of what being said there. Firstly, the majority of the people were talking about residential electricity, I guess. And that's what it came across to me. They're talking about residential and not the commercial aspect of CUC supplies, like a huge condominiums, a huge hotels,
right?
Big
office buildings
that pull a lot of power. The supermarkets, the chill units they have inside, and enormous power they operate with.
The radio transmitters?
I understand a little bit about electricity involved in it. And the big 10-story buildings, 12 stories, whatever you put them at, depending on how you look at them or what height you're looking at them from, they require enormous power to run them. You're talking about 10 kilowatts when you're talking about the systems you had checked into solar systems.
Mm-hmm.
That 10 kilowatts is minuscule. It's less than mine. It's totally minuscule.
That was for a house. That was just for one house that it runs AC.
A big house either. Then you're talking about the batteries, which are not exactly clean energy because they're made by oil companies and so forth, and they have a lifespan too, I guess, and they have to be disposed of. And there's a downside to everything. I don't know who gets a $900 a month bill, and I pity them that do. I've never seen anyone bill for anywhere I live even half that amount. No bill is not even a quarter of that. One part of a bill is not even a tenth of $90. I've seen bills like that. People, and they're not dying from heat stroke or nothing. Anyhow, I don't want to get into an argument with anyone, but the CUC fuel bill is the same thing that FPNL does in Florida, and I don't know of any other power company there, but FPNL, they can buy power from Georgia Power and Light because that's how the United States federal law has it, that they must be able to supply from each state in the case of emergency or serious loss of power. The other state nearest would supply them, and so forth, so on. And FPNL, of course, they have two or three nuclear power plants, which simply mean you don't use oil to fire the boilers anymore for the steam-powered generators. You're using nuclear uranium rods instead for that. That's all that means. It's not that the nuclear power itself is providing you the power. It transmits through another system to drive the generators, which is a steam engine, steam turbines. Now, and so forth, so on. To replace one of those big 18 megawatts, I think they have a couple of 20 megawatt diesel generators there at 12 and 14 and so forth, so on. It would require acres and acres and acres of mangroves to be cut down, or whatever bush you're going to cut down, just to replace the power that one of them provides with solar panels. So there is where we must think about it, how it works. UC has been very efficiently run. I don't have any shares in it or nothing like that, but I can understand the system. They employ a lot of Caymanians. They train a lot of Caymanians, and they do support a lot of sports and a lot of activities and send people away on scholarships and so forth. Not only electrical engineering, but at other fields and all that too. So we can't say they're not good corporate citizens. And when your power is off for any time, you're not charged for it. But if your phone goes off, you're still going to get the same bill, and the same thing with the TV. You're not going to get any. I had TV off for nearly a month. I didn't get 1 cent discount, not even 1 cent.
Oh, you're part of that flow thing?
No. But anyone would be the same. You're not going to get it. But you'd have to argue that and quarrel with them and get the fight with them. The reality is that it's a supplemental power. CUC already has a huge battery storage thing, and they're going to be using that battery backup because you need it to provide power that would be lost and so forth, so on, with times when there's a shutdown, if you want to say it that way. And the person who was talking about using your cistern water when you're not, if
you'll go from the city water to your cistern, turn the valve.
The thing is, yes, but the thing is, you need an electric pump to pump the water out of the cistern. So there we go again. And the water company uses tremendous pumps powered by CUC and so forth to pump water through those high-pressure membranes for reverse osmosis systems that we have. And Florida has them too, as a low-lying place with no big hydropower or anything. And this is where we're at. Honduras has mountains. They have hydropower there. And so did Jamaica from a long time ago. I don't know if they still have it, but they had a couple of hydro plants from about 1905, I think, or 1906. They had big hydro plants there, and to the middle of the island.
Well, if you're going to have a CUC, electricity provider of any kind, they have to have a scale that makes business sense.
Yes.
You can't cut them down to the point where it doesn't make sense to do this business anymore.
No,
that you can't scale it to where it's, the cost is reasonable.
Sure. I remember we used to buy fuel. What my friend Mr. Mario was saying is, I agree with, if we had been from a long time looking for a cheaper source of fuel, but he'd be too young to remember. We used to buy fuel from Trinidad, and all oil came from them and so forth. The tar on the road, of course, we used to get the drums of tar from them, and I remember that very well. And oil used to come in from them, barrels of oil. It still might be doing it that way because they require barrels of oil, these big diesel engines at CUC, to do their oil changes and so forth. Then the oil for the gas station for the cars but when the Western world signed on to this OPEC thing, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, it was a whole different ball game. They had to sign on to it, the U.S. did, to maintain peaceful relationships, especially after Mr. Jimmy Carter made that horrible mistake and turned his back on the Shah and created the monster that we have now, Iran, in 1978. And we saw the changes from then. You know what the cost of oil was then, the cost of fuel, and what it went up to gradually. We could try and go back to some of these countries supplying us. I don't know, Guyana has made, but that's owned by these same giant corporations, ExxonMobil and Chevron, the giants. that are really behind Esso and Texaco. I mean, Chevron behind Rubis and so forth. And there's Shell, the giant company there from Dutch company, and they're there in the British Petroleum. That they're giants in the Gulf there. They control that billions and billions of dollars of oil, and then oil is exported from the U.S. and sent to India to be refined in giant tankers and come back there and then resold to us and so forth.
Well, listen, I'm coming down to the end of the line here, and I gotta make sure I get out of here by 2:30.
Make oil cheaper, and we'll see cheaper bills and all that. But they have a formula they work this thing out with. A pass through it is the same thing with FPNL. It's a pass through. I've seen many bills from them. Anyhow, that's just my take on it. There's a lot more.
Well, thank you for calling.
More than welcome.
You have a good afternoon. That's it for our talk today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Charles Glidden. Take care.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They make it happen.